Okay, I'm going to start going over the questions on the practice quiz and trying to say some of the things that, in a market economy, the government intervention, the answer is D as in dogwood, may improve market outcomes in the presence of externalities. Okay, and in externalities, in a positive externality, we know the market underproduces, so a subsidy will help. In a negative externality, we know the market overproduces and a tax could improve the market conditions there. So D was the answer for number one. Whoops, went up a little too high there. All right, number two, since restored historic buildings convey a positive externality, local governments may choose to A, regulate the demolition, because you don't want to demolish all these historic buildings because there's a positive. Two, provide tax breaks to owners who restore them, which would be like giving them a subsidy as a tax break. So the answer would be both A and B. All right. Trouble sliding these down here. Okay. Three, which of the following is an example of a positive externality? All right. It's going to be B as in broccoli, Mary not catching the flu from Sue, because Sue got the vaccine and the third party, Mary, benefited. Now, what they could do is turn this into a negative externality, and that might be Sue got lung cancer from secondhand smoke from Mary smoking cigarettes. Okay, so you could look at the same type of question. Just remember, it's the third party involvement that makes an externality. So like looking at A, Sue not catching the flu because she got a flu vaccine. No, she paid for the vaccine. That isn't it. That is not the third party. This is pretty jumpy here today. All right, we go to question 4 and a first graph. All right, with all these, I would look at, and the textbook does things a little different. Like the demand curve should be private value or private benefit, they're the same, and then marginal social value. So anytime like the demand curve is shifting to the right like that from private to social, you then know it's a positive externality, okay? We know that a positive externality underproduces. But like one of the things here for this, I would say, this is, MSC. And by the way, when you're only one curve, MSC or MPC are really equal, but I call it MSC. So where MSC would intersect MSV or MSB, because this is value and benefit is the same, is here. So therefore, what the social optimal quantity of this output is 10 units, right? You just go down, and so it's D as in dogwood, 10 units. Now, what could they ask from this graph? They could ask you the market, which would be, the curve down here, and the market would be 8. They could ask you the price, which is 8. They could ask you the price of the optimal, which is 10. They could ask you the external benefit if you just draw that line up. And that looks like 4. 12 minus 8 is 4. So those are the type of questions I think they could ask you off this graph. Now, you look here, you have a positive externality graph. Sometimes they might ask you questions where that graph could help you. So, you could go back and refer to this. And the type of question they could ask you is something at the market value. Is the price higher than the benefit? Well, here's the price at 8 and the benefits all the way up here at 12. So the price isn't higher. So that's the type of question that you might use your graph for. Okay. All right, let's see. Can we scroll to question 5? Okay. All right. Question 5. Another graph question. So, I mean, I think for me, the first thing I want to do when I see these graphs is identify. So I'm going from private to social. So I know it's a negative externality. Okay, I know it's a negative externality. So the question is, which price and quantity combination represents the socially optimal? Well, this really, demand is equal to marginal social value or benefits. They mean the same, just depends. This text, I'm pretty sure the AP uses benefits, the textbook. So where MSB intersects MSC is here, so it'd be P2Q1, which is B as in broccoli. Okay, now they could ask you what type of externality it is. It's a negative externality. They could ask you the market value, and the market value would be where the private cost hits here. So it'd be P1, I think that's QO. They could ask you the external cost, which is P3 minus P1. All those, they could ask you what the government has to do to fix that, and that would be an excise tax. Okay, all of those are legitimate questions that could be posed from 10.5. Scroll down to question number 6. Okay, so here's a table showing the private value, the private cost, and the external cost. All right. So if it's external cost, I know it is an externality, right? It's a negative externality if it has an external cost. All right. And the external cost is 2. So I'm going to just put here the marginal social cost. So what is the marginal social cost? It's the private cost plus the external cost. So this is going to be 12. This is going to be 13. This is going to be 14. This is going to be 15. This is going to be 16 and, 17 and 18. All right. So now I have my private cost, my external cost, and my marginal social cost. How large would a corrective tax need to be? All right, so the corrective tax needs to be the size of the external cost, which is $2, which is A as in alpha. Now, they could also give you a question, if the government had a corrective tax of $2, deadweight loss would increase, decrease. Deadweight loss would be 0. So they could put that in. They could ask you what the market equilibrium is. Well, at the market, you're going to have your private value equal your private cost. So your private value would equal your private cost. So your market would be 3. They could ask you what your socially optimal would be. And that's going to be your demand curve, your private value, equaling the external cost, 13 and 13. So this would be your optimal. Now, a good way to check, are you right, is we know in a negative externality, the market overproduces. And that's true. The market produced 3 and the optimal is 2. All right. Again, they could ask the marginal social cost for the 6th item. That would be just 15 plus 2 gives you 17. And finally, let's think of social value. I guess they could ask you the social value, which would be the same as the private value. Now, how about if this was, instead of external cost, external benefit, then we would know it's a positive externality, okay? And this wouldn't be marginal social cost, it would end up being marginal social benefit. All right. So those are the type of things they could ask. I mean, this was the easiest question I think they could have asked there. So they could ask something else on your quiz. All right. All right, here comes question 7, but I got to get the graph in there. All right. Another graph. All right, I'm going from private to social cost. Okay, I know it's a negative externality. All right. I know in a negative externality, they overproduce. So if this market is currently producing at Q2, let's look at Q2 for a second. That's right here. This is the equilibrium that would get me to Q2 right here. Then total, well, we got to stay at Q2. We are at the optimal. We don't want to move. D as a dogwood, stay at Q2. Now, they could ask you on this graph, what is the market? The market would be Q3. All right. They could ask you what type of externality. It'd be negative. They could ask you, does it have dead weight loss? At the market, yes. If they gave a tax, dead weight loss would go to 0. All right. So those are the type of other questions they could ask here. We'll try to scroll down. Question 8. And then we got the crazy question coming up. Which of the following statements is correct? B as in broccoli. Government should tax goods with negative externalities and subsidize goods with positive externalities. All right. Now, they could ask like, why? Like, you want to tax negative externalities because the market overproduces. You want to subsidize positive externalities because the market underproduces. All right. All right, table 10.3. The following table shows the marginal cost for each of the firms A, B, C, and D to eliminate units of pollution from their production process. For an example, for firm A to eliminate 1 unit of pollution, it would cost $54. And for firm B to eliminate a second unit of pollution, and for firm A to eliminate a second, it'd be 67. If the government wanted to, all right, from 16 to 6, which of the following fees? So, all right. So this is how much it costs to eliminate units of pollution. 67 is the government subsidy. All right. So if the government's subsidizing me 67, company A can eliminate 1, 2 units, right? Because it costs 54 and 67. It costs 82, they're only getting 67, they can't. Company B can eliminate 1 unit. That's 3. Company C can eliminate 54 and 66. And company D, 62. So the answer A, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, could only eliminate 6 units, and we're trying to eliminate 10. So A cannot be the answer. All right. Now, I'm not going to go through all the answers, all the choices with you, because that would just take some more time, but I'll show you how you get to the answer. So the answer ends up being D as in dogwood, 83. And let's though go through. So for 83, A could cancel the first unit, costs 54, government gives you 83. Second unit costs 67, government gives you 83. Third unit costs 82, government gives you 83. Fourth unit, government gives you 83, costs 107. No. For B, 57, government's giving you 83, 68, 83. C, 54, you got 83, cost 67, you got 83, cost 82, you got 83. D1, cost 62, cost 73. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I've eliminated 10 units. That's what they want. All right, this question they could ask you anything, right? They could ask you to eliminate 8 units, 6 units, and truthfully, you have to go through all the answers till you hit the right answer. But I think the key here is in the boxes, right? In this table, that's the cost. You cross out anything like that is less than what the government's giving you, which is in the answers here. Okay, and then you tally up how much you've got that. All right, if this still doesn't make sense to you, please come to the review and ask me, because this chart will be on the quiz. And I think once you kind of get the hang of it, it's an easy answer. But I think looking at it for the first time is very, very confusing. All right, let's get to number 10. Suppose the market for smoking creates a negative externality. If the government imposes a per cigarette tax equal to the per cigarette externality, then what is going to happen? C, the after-tax equilibrium quantity of cigarettes smoked will equal the social optimal quantity of cigarettes smoked. So all that's saying is after the tax, MSC will equal MSV for the textbook, MSB for most other places. All right, that's all that's saying. All right, now here we have the cost theorem. All right, Ed's a writer who works at home. Ed's next door to Ricky the drummer. All right, Ricky needs a lot of practice. He gets a $250 benefit from his band. Ed gets distracted. He makes 500. If Ed hires a lawyer to help him make an agreement with Ricky, what price is Ed willing? Okay, Ed's willing to pay anything less than 500. All right. And really, the 500 should be the total of anything he's giving Ricky and anything he's giving his lawyer. All right, because anything over 500, then it's past his benefit, and we never have marginal cost greater than marginal benefit. Now, I could see them asking, like, what's something that's good for Ricky and Ed? It has to be above 250 and under 500, right? Above 250 for Ed and under above 250 for Ricky and under 500 for Ed. Anything in there is probably a good answer for both. And the last one, honey producers provide a positive externality to orchards because C, the orchard owner doesn't have to purchase bees to pollinate, all right? Because the honey producers, so they don't have to provide bees to pollinate the flowers. All right, that about wraps up this video. Again, if you have any questions, you can either email me or come to the reviews. All right, have a great day. Thanks.